Hello and welcome to another episode of The Hollywood Knitter. My name is Allison and I will be your host, and I'm recording on Friday, October 5th, 2018 from my home in Los Angeles, California, where it was a little cloudy this morning, a little cooler than we have been, but the sun has come out, so that's kind of nice, you know, the cooler temperatures with the sun. And when I say cooler, that means we're like mid 70s, but compared to the high 80s we have been in, it feels nice. This is sort of the feeling of our fall. And I know for the rest of the other country, you guys are all like, what? But yes, our fall is like 60s, 60s, 70s. That's our winter too. Anyways, I have a lot to talk to you about today. I have some FOs, some whips, and a bit of gossip about my life. I have some stash acquisitions. Yeah, I just had a fair amount to talk about, so I was like, let me sit down and record, because I'm also really excited about a lot of these things. Excuse me as I itch my nose. Anyways, let's start off with my FO. So, last time I talked to you, I had showed you I was working on my blankets again. And I stuck with it and decided and finished my Groovy Gan. Yes, it is done. Here, I'm not gonna be able to stand up and show you all of it, so it's kind of folded. But with that, you'll be able to get the gist of it and what I did. So this was the main pattern that I was working on last time, and this is the Groovy Gan by Marinka Slump. And the stitch pattern was something based on another blanket she saw somewhere. I want to say like it's called Navajo blanket or something. Anyways, I was working on that, and when I measured it, it was not going to be big enough for kind of what I wanted for a lap size blanket. It wasn't wide enough, what I cast on originally. So I decided to do a panel, pick up along the side, and then I just did stripes, kind of in a similar pattern. And then when I went to finish it off, because I looked at the yarns I had sort of the most of, because I wanted to do like an additional 2 inches, I did kind of a solid blue, a cream, and then I did a little kind of triangle. Here, let's see if I can pull it up. A little triangle ruffle in the green for the end. And my blanket ended up being 60 inches roughly by 60 inches, something like that. So a good lap size blanket. It's a fairly sizable. I weighed it. It's like 4 pounds. And this was all just kind of worsted in DK weight scraps that I had picked up in some other places. And then I, started working on it. Now I started working on this in January of 2017. So this took me over, 20 months to do. But I'm happy to be done. And once I started just kind of focusing on it and just sitting and just doing it, I did get a lot done, and I love it. I need cooler temperatures to kind of snuggle under, but it's really soft. I am not afraid, but when I wash it, I'm just going to have to do a soak because there is a mix of superwash and non-superwash yarns in here. So I need to be really careful when I wash it. I probably wash my Afghans and my quilts that I have on my couches every 3 months or so, unless, you spill something on it. Because a lot of times they're just on the back of my couch or they're just for me to snuggle under. My only potential concern with this one is my cat might like it. She's already started the kneading of it, which she does sometimes. And the concern is obviously that will snag some threads. She has a little kind of blanket in where she sleeps, which is homespun, from Lion Brand. And she loves that. So anyways, so happy with it. This was done on an H hook, and yeah, as I said, I changed colors every stripe. So the ends were no joke. They took me a lot of days to do, but I'm kind of proud of how they looked. So this is the back of it, and yeah, you can't see I weaved all of these ends. Basically, because I was changing single color, I was able to just thread it and kind of run along the line of the same color. So I ran along the line for, I don't know, I think I did under like 6 crochets, went back over one leg, and then came back again. So they're kind of all tripled. So they should be nice and sturdy and in there. And yeah, I'm loving this blanket. I love it so much. And I'm so happy to be done with it. You know, it's so satisfying to finish a long-term whip. I do not, in general, like having long-term whips. It's just not my jam. I made the exception for the blanket and then my linen stitch fingering weight blanket just because I knew I would not be able to sit and do those in one sitting and then, you know, monopolize my life. But it's really nice to have this one out of the way so that I can do some other things, or it's more off my mind. I've been doing other things all along. Anyways, so with that finished, I also cast on some new things. But first, let's show you what I've been working on. The only one that I was working on last time, and these are my Pan Galactic socks for the boyfriend. It's kind of not a slip stitch. It's actually you knit 2 stitches, you yarn over, knit 2 stitches, and then pass it over. So it's kind of a, you know, a sideways stitch. So I finished the first sock. I finally did the toe. I ended up I was holding on, trying it on him to make sure that the toe was long enough, and in actuality, it was not. So I had to knit a few more rows before I Kitchenered. And then because this is not mindless, so I had gone on some, like, we went to like a family event, and it was like an hour drive at night. And I was like, oh, I'll just work on my socks. And then I realized that I can't work on these in the dark. This is not just, you know, mindless stockinette. So that was kind of sad to me because I had 45 minutes where I wasn't able to knit. So I decided to just kind of take these out of the purse, put them next to the couch, and get working on them so that I could finish them. So I have actually finished the top of the leg and actually turned the heel. And obviously the heel is a different, very neon color. And now I'm starting to go down for the foot, and I'm hoping to finish these within the next week. I'm trying to kind of focus on them to get them done. But in the meantime, because I needed to cast on a pair of socks, and rightly so, you know, it was Socktober. I had actually picked this yarn out as my neck yarn a while ago and had it already skeined up probably for a few months. But I started on it and I love it. It's so gorgeous. This is Query Yarn Socktober colorway, Socktober 2016 colorway. And I got this when the Carolina Fiber Girls were doing podcasting regularly and doing Socktober. So it is, I can't even remember how many stripes. It's my ball bands in the middle. It's a lot. I haven't started repeating a color yet. So there are quite a few, and it's very, very colorful, and I love it. So this is the perfect, you know, plain and simple sock, because all of the glory and all of the beauty is in the colors. So this has switched to my purse yarn, and I actually had a meeting yesterday, so I was able to get a few stripes on it, which is nice. Yeah, so I'm really excited to have a different sock for me, for these ones that are going to be for me on the needles. And then I also have it in my Halloween bag. Let me show it to you. I'm going to zip it up. From Nomadic Yarns. I don't know, that I got a few years ago, but it's just a really cool Halloween fabric. Because I love Halloween, because if you didn't know, that's my birthday. So my birthday is coming up shortly. It would be nice. The other thing I cast on was just kind of a palette cleanser, kind of right after the hat. And that is right after the hat, right after the blanket. And that's a hat. And it's kind of hard to see because it's a very dense color, but there is a traveling stitch that, let me see, it goes up here, and I'm just V'ing it. And this is beautiful hand spun that was gifted to me by Pat Data Knitter a few years ago. And the fiber was actually dyed for a fiber retreat that we went to that used to be hosted by Gemma of the Cognitive Fiber Retreat. So the colorway is Tehachapi. I don't remember what the fiber is, but that's okay. I love green, and I look great in green. So just doing a hat. I think I cast it on a few days ago, and I'll finish it up this weekend is my plan. So that will be a quick knit. You know, you just got to do hats sometimes. They're just like these quick palette cleansers. And I also need to do a few hats for charity. That's my my kind of charity knitting I try to do at the end of the year, and I'll be saving them probably to bring back to the Knockers Retreat, where they give them to the brothers who use them in their charity in San Francisco, I think, some of their things. Anyways, I have one more FO, and I love this. One, I love the bag, Fat Squirrel. But I cast on for a sweater finally. I know I talked about it, and I was going back and forth on what it was going to be, and I decided to go with a Markley by Elizabeth Doherty, which has been in my queue for a while, and I don't do the front page. Yeah, it's kind of a simple pullover, a lot of stockinette, and fingering. And what I decided to do, which I had been deciding a long time, I had these two colors, orange, my color, Miss Babs Tart, and this is Pewter and Marigold, and I had two of these and one of these, and I thought I could do a sweater out of that, and I could have, but I was concerned that I would, one, so I saw a beautiful striped one, and I can't remember whose it was, but that inspired me to do a striped Markley. But I decided to add in a third. So this is I'll show it to you anyways. This is 716 knit that I picked up, and you can kind of see it's got oranges and purples. And when I knit it, and I haven't knit that much, and I have a lot of strings hanging off because I'm not cutting as I go. I'm just carrying it up the side, and here is what it's looking like, and I adore it. Adore it! So I'm doing 4 of the solid gray, and then 2 of the orange, and then 2 of the 716 knit, and I love it. Love it. Yeah, so I haven't done too much yet. This is all I have done. Oh, I keep snagging my finger. And I'm just following the pattern right now. I haven't had any modifications. I did a swatch, which I hardly ever do. I did a swatch. I actually washed and blocked it. I'm getting right on gauge, which is awesome. And then I really liked it because this is a nylon wool blend because it's socks. But I liked the feel of it, and I think it will be a great sweater. I like the thin. I think it will just be great. So that's the Markley by Elizabeth Doherty. I'm hoping to have a lot more work done. I'm going to make this a primary project as soon as I finish the socks and that hat. And then the other socks will just stay in my purse. And then I have a crazy idea of trying to finish this in a month. I don't know if I will. We'll see how I get within a week or so, how far along I got. But I'm loving all of my whips. I'm really excited by them. I'm noticed because I'm excited by them. I'm doing a lot more knitting because when I'm not excited, I don't know about you, but I don't knit as much. So the fact that all my knits are making me happy, well, except for the sock that I need to finish with the boyfriend, but the fact that I'm close to being finished makes me happy about it. So that's kind of all I have for whips. And my UFOs, I haven't tucked the sock yard blanket. I have a cowl, that's my movie cowl. Who knows when I'll go see the next movie. I haven't done any knockers since last time. And Christmas ornaments, my plan of doing 2 a month has kind of fallen by the wayside. But when I look at my tree, I really only need my little mini tree I bought them for, maybe 4 or 5 more. So I'll be able to whip those out quickly once I sit down and do it. I'll probably do those in November, December, in preparation for Christmas for my little tree. So I had a pretty big stash acquisition. I occasionally get sucked into Kickstarter. I've made some small purchases, supported some big things. Like I have a giant gaming table in the back that we supported, and that was a fairly significant investment and took a year and a half before we got it. And one of these, when I go into Kickstarter, I constantly just do a search for yarn just to see what the latest things are coming. And some people use it to upgrade studios. Some people are using it to try to start getting into it. And depending on what it is, I may or may not back it. Well, a few months ago, I saw a Kickstarter by a gentleman, American, living in Mongolia. And he wanted to basically source fiber and create yarn from the fibers that are native to Mongolia, which would be yak, cashmere, and camel. So he got a lot of backers and the project went forward, and I got the yarn this past week. And I did a fairly significant support because, I don't know, I was feeling a little crazy at the time. So this is about, I think my pledge ended up being like $200 or something like that. But I got this whole bin of yarn and it's gorgeous. So basically all the yarn was either fingering or DK. And so I kind of got a mix of both, and I got enough for a sweater's worth for me, and I'll show you. So this is the cashmere. It is 100% cashmere fingering, and I got red, and this little red extra ball, this was like the Kickstarter prize, like, oh, I'm going to give you a little extra, you know, for backing. And so it's 100 grams of red and a cream, and then I got a little bit more. And it's so nice. I mean, it's 100% cashmere. How can you go wrong? When I increased my order, because I was very specific in what I wanted, I had something in mind, but I didn't add it to my Ravelry, so I don't remember what projects I had in mind for any of these. Still, it's still fine. This is 100% yak, and this is the fingering, and then I think I got some of the DK. Yeah, and it's the same color and a DK. So for the fingering, it's about 400 yards. For the DK, it's about 280. So I got that and yak. And what I got a sweater's worth of. Oh well. First, this is the baby camel. I got some fingering and some DK, and I mean, I got 2 or 3 of each one so that I would have enough to maybe mix and match for different things. This is all camel, camel, camel. So the one I got a sweater's worth is 100% yak in this kind of brown, and I got 6 skeins of it. And this is the DK, so that should be enough. And then I also have some of this darker. And I think my initial thought, once upon a time, was some type of color work using the yak. They only have the 2 colors, the dark and the light brown. So if I do something like that, I might need to introduce another kind of DK color, maybe a red or white, to do some color work with the main part of the body being brown. But yeah, so that was wonderful because what happened is I finished the blanket and emptied this, and I was like, yay, I have room for more yarn. And literally the next day I got a box of yarn from the Kickstarter, which ended up being, let's see, how many skeins do I have in here? 16 skeins of DK, various DK and things of, but I mean, I was just intrigued by the fibers. Like, who's gonna say that they have a yak sweater when I finish it? This is 100% yak. I mean, doesn't that just sound cool? Or this cowl is camel. Cashmere, people know. But yak and camel seem a lot more exotic, and I thought it would be cool to have it. I have no plans to knit it anytime soon. It will probably sit in my stash for a while before I figure out what I'm going to use it for. But I'm excited about it. And if you want to get it, it's called Eula plus Leah. ULA plus LIA. And the yarns are created in Ravelry, and he had some extra from this big batch because he had to, you know, buy large batches and have a minimum amounts for the mill to run it. And so there are some available on a website, and basically what happened is he shipped it all back. I think his family lives in Pennsylvania, so it's all in the United States, and so it could ship anywhere in the United States, and you know, wouldn't be crazy. And I think there were some cashmere, and I think all of the fibers were still available: the cashmere, the yak, and the camel. So I will put the link down below and in the show notes if you are interested in purchasing some of it. It seems really nice. And I know some people, there's a Ravelry support group forum for this yarn, and I know some people have already like started swatching and saying it softens up so much afterwards, and it will be awesome. So that's my stash enhancement. So great. Next up, work or just life. Life has been going. One of the big things that I've done in the past month, as of 4 weeks tomorrow, I've been following kind of the keto diet, which if you haven't heard of it. It's very popular right now, or seems to be. It is a high-fat, moderate protein, low-carb diet, which my carbs were out of control. And my weight gain in the last few years has not made me happy. So I wanted to do something to kind of really jumpstart, and I've seen a lot of positive things about this, and I did a lot of research and prepped, and I've been on it a month, and I've lost 12 pounds. Now, a lot of that is water weight. It has to do with the type of things, changes going to a low carb diet causes in your body, and a lot of that has to do with switching from a carb glucose based energy source to a fat based energy source. And I didn't realize this, but when glucose is stored in your body, it stores a lot of water with it. So when I basically flushed all that, I flushed a lot of water. So a lot of that was water weight, but it's still a very nice feeling, you know, you still are shrinking. So I had promised myself, or committed to following this for at least 3 months and then reevaluating and kind of seeing where I was and if I was missing anything. Some great things about this is that it's like a natural appetite suppressant. I'm not as hungry. I don't have the sugar cravings. I don't have like the afternoon crash where I would always have to have a Diet Coke. It's definitely evened out that. And it's not hard to eat. It just takes more effort. It's less vegetables. You eat vegetables, meat, and, you know, I put butter on everything. I eat bacon. I have cheese. So it's definitely a bit of a change in terms of not, you know, there's a lot of processed carbs in everything. And so it's kind of just being aware and making choices and cooking a lot more, which is not a bad thing. I had been getting HelloFresh boxes for a while. And because I went to this, you know, lower carb thing, I tried Green Chef, and I really like that too. And Green Chef is more specialized diets like Whole30, paleo, keto. And so now I'm alternating. So one week I get a Green Chef box, which is for the keto meals. And then the next week I do the HelloFresh. And because I usually share my meals with my boyfriend, and he's not doing this with me. So I want to also be able to modify things. So by having the HelloFresh, which is fresh ingredients and things like that, I just modify it. So like last night, it was an adobo steak with like a corn and potato side. Well, I just didn't have the corn and potato side, but I had the great steak, and then I did my own side, which was just the poblano and onions that I just, you know, stir fried in some butter and had that as my side. So I'm not feeling like I'm missing anything. It's just adjustment. So I will give you an update in a few weeks and let you know if it's something that is continuing to work for me. And yeah, I just thought I'd mention it because I know everyone struggles, and I'm over 40, and you know, where before I would be able to you know, cut back on some things and up some exercise, it's not the same anymore. I'm also upping my weightlifting. So I started to lift weights again, small weights, but trying to do it consistently 3 times a week, and we'll see where we go from there. Because I do want to drop some weight, but I also want to be toned. Anyways, that's probably too much about that. The other big thing that's going on are some travels. And so I am going to Stitches SoCal, which is going to be in Pasadena, which is really close to my house, and that is the 1st through the 4th. And as part of that, because my birthday is on Halloween, the day before, I thought it'd be really cool to have my mom come out. So my mom is going to come out for a visit, and she hasn't come out to visit me, where it's just the two of us, like without the niece, nephew, or my brother or sister, for it's probably been 10 years at least. So she's going to come out and be with me for Halloween and celebrate that. And then we're going to go to Stitches together. We got tickets for the Thursday night Franklin Habit Talk. And then we have classes on Saturday. She's actually not a knitter. She's a quilter, but there were a few quilting classes. So she's taking a all-day class on Saturday she's excited about. And I'm taking a shorter class, and it has to do with crochet, and I can't remember who the teacher is, but basically, doing independent blocks and then sewing them together, or crocheting them together in different ways. So it's a shorter class, but I'm going to actually be spending most of it in the market, hanging out, you know, hopefully seeing friends, checking out vendors. So I'm really excited. And then something super exciting just happened actually last night. So there had been talk for work of my boyfriend going to Japan. And he mentioned it a few weeks ago, and it was like, yeah, maybe, maybe not, because we actually are manufacturing some pipe in Japan that we're installing in some of our jobs, and he is a plant inspector. And I was like, well, if you're going to go, I want to, not try to go through work, but do it a vacation to be in Japan too. And yesterday he finally said, yep, I'm going, and he gave me the itinerary. And of course, it's really soon. It's actually, he's going November 3rd through the 17th. But I looked at the itinerary, and I think I'm going to be able to go for a week. So I'm really excited. So if that pans out, which 90% sure it will right now, I would fly into Tokyo on the 9th, meet him in Osaka, which is where he's going to be for a few days, and then kind of travel with him where he goes. So he's going to be, after when I meet him, in Osaka, and then he's going up to Sapporo for a day or two, and then he's coming down to Nagano and then to Tokyo. And so the idea was while he goes to work, during the day and goes inspection stuff, I'll explore wherever we are, and then can meet back up with him at night. And then there's also like a Saturday, Sunday in there where he has time off where we could explore together. So I'm excited. He's not as excited. He is not a world traveler, and he's not as excited as me, but so I might go to Japan again. So I'm really excited. And there's a chance I have some other friends from work who were going to Japan, I think around the same time. So I'm going to see if maybe some of the itinerary overlaps so I can meet up with them. So Japan, less than a month. Good thing. This is why you should always have your passport ready, up to date, ready to fly on a whim, or in this case, in a month. So I have my mom coming, and then a week later, I go out to Japan, hopefully. Exciting. And then the next permanent trip, or definite trip I have, is I'm going to Virginia Beach, knitting retreat put on by my friend Martha, Knit Crit, in February. And I do plan on going to the Knockers retreat in April, though that registration hasn't come out yet. That is my plan. And as far as trips, Rhinebeck is in a few weeks. I'm sad I'm missing it with my Rhinebeck buddies, but just didn't pan out this year. Happens. I think that the plan is going to be every other year for me anyways, just because of it. That's another reason I had my mom come out, so I could do that. So that's all the travels I have. Yay, travels. It makes me so excited. I've been looking at okay, what's the best way for me to fly in? How can I meet him? Should I fly into Tokyo? Because that's where all the major airports fly into Tokyo, and then take an inter-Japan flight to Osaka. Or should I just take the Shinkansen, which is the super train? And it's based on when I get in, can I make the train? How long would I have to wait around before I did the flight? And even when I flew to Osaka, I would still have to take the train. And I love planning trips. I love figuring that out and looking at all the different options and, trying to figure out. Now I'm starting to look at, okay, so he's going to be busy potentially. What are certain things I want to see in the area? I have thought the last time when I went to Japan in February of 2012, I think, we did Tokyo and Kyoto, with a day trip to an area where we stayed in onsen in Japan. So even though Kyoto is really close to Osaka, and it was beautiful, I don't think I'm going to go back because I've already seen things there. And though it'd be kind of cool to show my boyfriend some things there, he doesn't. He'll be happy wherever we're going. And so I'm really excited just to see some of the places. So basically go to all new places. So I've never been to, obviously, Osaka, Nagano, or Sapporo. And even though in some of those, Sapporo, we're only there, I think, 2 nights, it will be fun. It will also be winter and cold, especially up in Sapporo, which is in the northern part of Japan. In November, they get half the month, it usually snows, and the average temperature is, low 40s, which that means I get to bring sweaters. I'm so excited. That's kind of the idea of why I potentially want to finish a sweater in a month, which is crazy. But maybe I can finish it on the way. Who knows? It's a lot of flying time. It is a 12-hour flight. Not as bad as some people because I'm on the West Coast, but it's a 12-hour flight to Japan. So that is a lot of time to knit. Anyways, that's kind of all I have today. So I hope that this finds everyone having a beautiful, beautiful fall day. I do miss New England, and fall is my favorite time of year. The crispness, the leaves, the apples. I am a little sad I'm not going to see the family in the fall. It is my favorite time to visit them, but I'm tempered by my other exciting trips that are going to be coming up. So anyways, I'll see you guys in a few weeks. I might not record again before I go to Stitches, or I might, or maybe I'll try to get my mom to sit down and do a little recording with me. We'll see. Anyways, that's a wrap from Hollywood, where fantasy meets fiber and dreams are knit. Oh, let me say who I am. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Allison1031, if you didn't already know. Anyways, bye everybody.